Welcome to the Covert Selling Method. I'm Sonia Gomez, a founder of the Covert Selling Method, and I'm super excited to see you here. You might be wondering, Sonia, what is the Covert Selling Method? So I wanted to take a moment, share this video with you, and walk you through step-by-step exactly what the Covert Selling Method is, and more importantly, how you can use it in your very next podcast interview, stage presentation, webinar, or sales conversation. Let's dive in. The very first thing that you need to understand about the Covert Selling Method is that it's actually a two-way conversation that's happening between you, your audience, or prospect. It is the exact methodology that I use to capture the attention of the people that I am speaking to connect with them authentically through what I call story selling, and ultimately and effortlessly being able to move them into action, whether the goal of your presentation is to generate more leads, whether it's to cultivate more trust against existing audience members or followers, or if you're looking to close that high ticket deal over the phone or in person. This is the exact methods that I use and the step-by-step process that we can go through together. What makes the covert selling system so unique and special is that everything starts with two things. Number one, your knowledge and intimate understanding of your audience. And number two is the end in mind. Why are you here and what is your ultimate goal? By pairing these two things together, you can find a common ground between your prospect and you as the professional so that you can come together, solve problems, create results, and ultimately celebrate amazing transformation for your clients. Let's dive into step one. Step one is knowing your audience. When I was just getting started in speaking and selling, my mentors used to tell me all the time, know your audience. Who's your avatar? The deeper my understanding became of who I was serving, the easier it was for me to connect and communicate with them with my story. So we're going to go over 4 primary learning types that you're going to find in your audience. The first type of audience member you're going to have is a visual learner. These are the types of people who really connect to your visual aesthetics inside of your presentation, your roadmaps, your blueprints, your systems. They love a physical representation of who you are, what results you can produce, where your journey has taken them, and more importantly, what your system is to help them solve their problems. Be distracted by noises and be deeply connected by the imagery that you share with them. You can use different languages to connect with your different archetypes, which we'll dive into deeper here in just a moment. The second type of learner that you're going to find in your audience is called the auditory learner. An auditory learner is pretty much what it sounds like. They connect to everything that they hear. So they're going to be really listening closely to your tonality, the pace in which you speak and deliver your message. Again, this applies whether you're on an interview, whether you are on a one-on-one sales call, or speaking in front of an audience of 1,000 people. Your auditory learners are going to pay close attention to not what you say, but how you say it. What is the tone that you're using, the energy that you're putting out there? How clearly are you articulating your words, and is it easy to understand? The third type of learner that you're going to come across in your audience is a kinesthetic learner. Now, these are my favorite types because they really push you to develop exercises or immersive opportunities with your content so they can truly connect on a physical level with what it is that you're presenting or asking them to do. A kinesthetic learner will be the first person to say or show that they either are or are not engaged with your content. Finally, the digital auditory learner is the most fluid type of learner. They tend to disguise themselves kind of like a chameleon as other types of learners since they display so many of their traits. However, you can pick them out because they're often the ones talking to themselves, talking through their decision-making, asking themselves the question or walking themselves through the step-by-step process that you've presented. They love to have a physical representation and will always ask you questions around your system or your process. That's why having an ironclad step-by-step that you can walk people through or a physical roadmap that you can share with folks is so important. It really allows you to connect with all different types of learners and keep you and your audience on track as you're creating and sharing your value. Now that we know our audience, the second step in the covert selling method has everything to do with your offer and your end in mind. What is your end in mind? And this is something that you want to be absolutely clear on your end in mind. As a matter of fact, the more clear you are on what success looks like for you, then you will be able to reverse engineer and architect exactly how to start your presentation so you can capture, connect, and ultimately convert your audience into raving fans, high quality leads, or conversions or customers in your back office. Your end in mind should be so clear that you know exactly what your positive outcome is. Now, some people are in a place where they're desperate for the sale, while others are more conscientious of the impact that they're making. At the end of the day, money is energy and we need to make money move. And so the goal of any presentation or interview that you do should be to convert more clients or investors into your offer and ultimately be able to serve at the highest possible level. Now, there is a 5-step process that we go through with the perfect pitch presentation that allows all of these principles to be put to work. And in a moment, I'm going to share with you what those 5 steps are in the covert selling method. However, I want to dive into number 3 because actually what I am doing inside of the covert selling method is a culmination of tools and resources that I leverage to create a two-way conversation to eliminate any resistance from my audience or prospect and really open the opportunity for us to connect on a deeper level, because no is not an option in this conversation. They'll be saying yes to something, and we want that someone to be you. Some of these tools include trial closes. Trial closes allows us to open and utilize a two-way conversation. And in a moment, I'll share with you my trial close cheat sheet so that you can have the exact phrases that I use in my presentations, interviews, and sales conversations to maintain that two-way conversation with my audience, even if they're not physically with me in the room. The second tool that I use is what I call non-resistance communication. It's the perfect way to phrase your content so that you are not creating any walls or resistance. You see, there's so much noise out there in the marketplace that they're already arriving at your video convinced that you are just another person, a fraud, somebody who's trying to get something from them. Our goal is to connect and communicate that we're not only here to serve, but we're here to share real solutions to solve real problems in the shortest amount of time, which will ultimately help them achieve the transformation that they're searching for. Non-resistance communication comes from neurolinguistic programming, which allows us to bypass the gatekeeper, enter into the subconscious mind, and really access the emotions that your prospect or audience are experiencing while listening to you. You see, most people are distracted with what's happening in their own minds and in their own lives. And at the end of the day, they're more likely to move away from pain than they are towards pleasure. At the same time, they are wildly skeptical that you could be the person that could actually solve the problem for them. By using non-resistant communication, we're actually breaking down those barriers, opening up an opportunity to deepen a relationship, and at the end of the day, creating the opportunity for you to have a new customer and for them to get the solution that they're looking for. Now that we've gone through some of the tools and resources that I use inside of the covert selling method, all of which I'm going to share with you, let's dive into what the 5 steps of the perfect pitch presentation are and how I use the covert selling system to move through any presentation, any interview, any webinar, whether it's virtual or live in person. This exact system is what allows me to convert 7 out of 10 of my prospects into customers. It's the exact structure that I have used to impact hundreds of millions of people around the world and to lower my acquisition cost and increase my conversions every time I step on the stage or pick up the phone. Let's dive in. Every presentation and conversation starts with an introduction. Your introduction has to capture the attention of the person that you're speaking to. It must frame the goals of the conversation and set and manage expectations for what you're here to do. It's the first opportunity and only opportunity that you have to make a promise to your audience, and the rest of your presentation should be focused on delivering value, being in service, and ultimately sharing your secrets of success so that they can understand that you're the person to follow to the back of the room or to the checkout page. The second key element inside of your covert selling method or perfect pitch presentation blueprint is going to be your story. Now, your story is probably one of the most powerful pieces that you can perfect throughout your life, whether you're on an interview or performing on a webinar. What you want to get to is, what story are you going to tell to connect them to the end in mind, so that at the end of the day, people can know you, like you, trust you, and understand why you created your system and how you created your system. What we're looking for is authenticity and relatability. When people can see themselves in your story, you open up the idea that me too, I too can do what you do the way that you've done it. I too can get the results. Me too, take me with you. That's what we want them to be thinking. And your story is the way to show them that there's not anything special or unique about you and your circumstances. We all have a story to tell. However, the difference between ones who are successful, like yourself, and the ones who are still searching is that you've created a system or methodology that allows them to go from where they are to where they want to be, and your system is the gap that will make it possible. Your story is the why behind the buy and the how you got there. Is this making sense? Okay, good. Let's dive into point number 3, which is framing the offer. Now, this is probably one of the most important things, and most people miss it. As a matter of fact, I'm almost certain that if you're doing webinars, stage presentations, if you are doing podcasts, you are missing this exact element in your presentation, and it is killing your business and conversions. It's framing your offer. You see, everybody has resistance thinking that you're here to sell them something, and you are here to sell them something. You want them to become a community member. You want them to become an engaged follower. You want them to become a qualified lead. You want them as a part of your book of business. And so let's just call out the elephant in the room and let them know that at the end of your presentation, you're going to be sharing with them an opportunity of how you can work together. And it moves the tension out of the way, releases the resistance, and opens up the opportunity for them to hear, see, and feel how important it is for them to work with you. The next element in the perfect pitch presentation and covert selling method is the body of your talk. Now, this is where you really get to dive in and showcase your value and expertise. You get to walk them through the step-by-step process that allowed you to experience your transformation, and ultimately what steps you're going to take them through so they can duplicate your results. Remember, be in service, add value. There's no new content under the sun, and most all information is available for free. So you're not doing yourself or them any favors by holding back. You see, what to do is in the presentation. How to do it is in your product or program that they're going to say yes to at the end of this presentation. Finally, after sharing your value, you're going to move into the close. And the very first step of your close is asking permission for the sale. Here's an example. Would it be all right with you if I took a few minutes to share how I might be able to help you? By creating this invitation, by opening up this dialogue, by getting them to say yes to that opportunity, opens the door wide open for you to share your value, share your offer, and ultimately close your prospect into your business. The covert selling method is not just another way to overcome objections or manipulate your prospect into becoming a client. It's actually a way of showcasing how much you care, not how much you know. See, people don't care what you know until they know that you actually care about them. And that's the biggest challenge with most people who are in business. They spend so much time trying to hit their profit margins that they forget that empathy and connectivity, authenticity, vulnerability are the human aspects, the human traits that people are looking for and most attracted to. It's a big, wide, lonely world out there, and where more and more content and more confusion is being presented on the internet, this is your opportunity to stand out by being the most careful, aware, conscious, connected content creator that you can possibly be. And this in turn will make you a more successful business owner. Sure, there's plenty of logistics that will happen in the background. And as we grow our relationship together, you're going to learn how we measure our metrics, lower our acquisition costs, increase lead flow and conversions on the back end by using these little known strategies and techniques. Almost no one is talking about these things, but I want to share with you the mastery of your messaging and how important it is to understand each element that I just walked you through inside of the Covert Selling Method, the different tools that I utilize that allow me to capture, connect, and convert my audience both on virtual and live presentations and create deeper relationships with hyper-engaged communities who are begging to buy my stuff. This is the fastest, most effective way to take a cold audience and turn them into raving fans and cash-paying customers. And I've helped dozens of entrepreneurs at all different levels of success perform better on their webinars, completely blow out their first stage presentations, live events, or podcast interviews. And you can too. If you want to find out more about how to incorporate the Covert Selling Method into your sales strategy, into your content creation, into your very next webinar or stage presentation, go ahead and click this link right here. Schedule a success session with me. I'm Sonia Gomez, and I can't wait to work with you.